introduce?
Hello, my name is John Sveck. Welcome to this ALL24 video. Coach Waterman and I are joined today by Coach Chris Hopkins, who is the offensive line coach at Carleton University. Thanks for being with us, Coach.
Yeah, excited to talk ball, excited to talk offensive line, and yeah, let's get this thing going.
Perfect. So this is a toolbox video, so we're going to talk about a drill and some technique. So I'll give you the floor, Coach.
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer in mimicking what we do in a game, and that's a big thing for me is that I am not. I hate to say it, I literally used this yesterday, but I'm not an American Gladiators coach. I'm not getting out a whole bunch of bags and cones, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm still old school. I still like to sled. Like simple things like that are great, but for me, the best way to play and the best way to practice is against the man. And what we're doing is this is something I kind of started to develop this year is a pass set circuit. And traditionally, what we always do is like the traditional set to cover drill, or like your set replace redirect drill. Your mirror drill still worked in there. Those things that are traditional offensive line pass set drills. And there's still room for that. Don't get me wrong, but this is an opportunity where, much like our positional warm up is an opportunity where we can focus on a specific set of skills in a short amount of time. So, as I said, our philosophy really is like everybody's got to be working at the same time. So we're going to set up. This is just an example, like tackles with tackles, guards with guards, centers with centers. So you're working similar skills, and traditionally in the pass set, like everybody has a different philosophy in terms of how they pass set. Some guys are man setters, some guys are vertical setters, some guys are spot setters. And for me, I'm about setting to the spot, that section point. So getting to the spot is really important to me, is being in that position where you're getting to that kind of that point where the defensive line has to go through in order to win the rep. So this allows us to do this quickly. And what we have is a progression of skills and techniques that I feel that you have to have at the university level to be successful at the offensive line. Is that no pitcher, unless you're a closer, is coming in with just gas. Like they're going to have an off-speed pitch. Like they're going to have kind of a repertoire or something where they're like, it's a 3-1 count or a 1-2 count. Like, how do I burn a pitch? Like, you have to be in that position where you have to be able to play the game inside the game, especially the offensive line position where a defensive lineman have, 3 or 4 tools in their toolbox in terms of pass rush moves. We need to be able to have 3 or 4 sets. And that's really important for us. So I want to be able to work through as many of those sets as quick as possible, at the best tempo that we can. So what we're going to do is we're going to set them up by position so they're working in similar skill sets. And really what we're going to do is the first one is just we're going to do it from a tight shade. So, and every one of these are going to look different. So like the tackle position may be in a position where they're going to be going set, replace. And I'm a big combo puncher, specifically with the outside guys, and like being in the position where, they're finishing with their hand, their punch, like on the inside breastplate of the end. And then the guard, maybe a little bit more of a horizontal set, as opposed to vertical to get to that spot. Same with the center. So we're going to do that tight shade. And one of the things that we really realize, especially with the tight shade, is that our offensive line, overset a lot. Like I think that it's a common misunderstanding at offensive line that we need to fly out there. Like we're like literally got to sprint ourselves out there to go cover the man. And one of the things that we've done a good job this offseason explaining that you just need to get to the spot, and the best way to pass block is pass block with patience. Being in a position where it's like the traditional, like I use the Mighty Ducks analogy, like where you got to make them make the first move sometimes, and like be in that position where if I get to the spot, knowing that I'm in the spot is half the battle. Knowing that I'm going to be in front of our guys. So we're trying to coach our tackles individually, our guards individually, our centers differently, and we're going to coach that tight shade. And now, once we kind of gotten that, now we're going to go to a wide shade. So now all of a sudden, like basically everything in offensive line for me works in like 2s and 4s or 6s, like basically an even amount of steps to everywhere. So like now it's previously in a tight shade, you were going as a guard, you were going like set, replace. You know, now as a wider shade guy, now you have to go probably set, replace, set, replace. And you have to be conscious of now I don't want to lose too much depth because I'm the middle of the pocket. I don't want to back up into our quarterback. And, you know, those are things that we're going to coach along the way. And being in our position and getting to that spot, you know, and now the tackle's in the same thing. Now I got a wide shade. Now I got to wait a little bit because I don't need to go chase him way out there, you know, and that's one common misunderstanding is that tackle I got to keep setting out there. Tackle, really, you got to set twice. Like if there's an a point that spot is 8 yards out, like on a wide 9, like we're going to lose every time, you know. So I want to be in that position where I'm trying to coach that. And specifically for the coach in this position is that you have to bounce around. Don't get stuck on one group because everybody's going to be working. And what you're going to find is as you coach guys, guys are going to start to coach themselves a little bit too. You're going to be like, I overset it. I felt like I overset. And making sure you're coaching the defense here is really important too, that they're coming across. Offensive line, like always when they're in these drills, just want to step once. Like make sure that you're getting to the point and we're working a good strike here. And, you know, the next one is just the redirect, like an out and in. So now with a tighter shade where he comes back inside. So now we set, replace, and then we have to double post back inside. And, you know, it starts to the momentum starts to pick up now. And now we'll go back into a post technique. And like traditionally for a tackle, especially in the post technique, it's going to look different than the guard, you know. So we'll talk a little bit about, okay, you're going to work full slide technique here, tackle. So you can drop your post now and come back inside on the inside technique, whereas opposed to a guard is going to play against a one tech traditionally. So he has to do the traditional double post back inside. One thing that I think that needs to be worked on a lot more, and one of the techniques that needs to be worked on a lot more, especially, you know, at the younger levels, is the jump set, you know, in terms of like a quick set and getting on the opponent. And I know that it's a big thing in America with the lack of a yard, but it's something here that needs to be done too. Like, you know, one of the worst things you can do is set back against a big, strong guy that you can't physically match up against and give him a 2-yard run at you. You know, being in a position where now we can jump up on a guy and get him covered up quickly is really important. So, you know, this is the same kind of point, is that what's that point, what's that intersection point that you have to get to on the jump set? And, you know, we're going to talk through fundamentals the whole time, is that, all right, where's the spot, you know, high hand carriage, and then we have a target for each position as well. And like we're typically our target that's the most universal is that little logo that's usually on the corner of your chest or of your shoulder, like the Nike logo or the Under Armour logo. And we want to get our eyes there and try to get it, you know, about 3/4 coverage or 7/8 coverage, depending on the position. So this has been really effective for us to be able to tackle a whole bunch of skills very quickly